flag.
All right. The meeting will now come to order. Roll call. Mr. Probst.
Here.
Mrs. Brunette.
Here.
Mr. Cowley.
Here.
Mr. Bonnet.
Here.
Mr. Hirsch.
Here.
Ms. Johnson.
Here.
And I am here. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Ms. Johnson.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The agenda was posted throughout the district according to school board policy, published as a legal ad in the Superior Telegram, posted on the district webpage. A meeting notice was sent to the connection for publication. Approval of the August 11th, 2025 agenda, open and executive sessions.
I'll make that motion to approve the agenda, including the executive session.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Very good. Item 4, the consent agenda. Item A, minutes from the July 14th, 2025 regular board meeting and closed session. July 22nd, 2025 special meeting and closed session. The July 30th, 2025 special meeting and closed session. I trust that you all read through those. And if you had questions, you would have already addressed them. The treasurer's report, Mr. Cowley.
Right, in the general fund on July 31st, 2025, there was a balance of $4,359,359.35 in cash and investments. Receipts since the 1st of August and not included in the July 31st balance are $10,437, and the disbursements from tonight's August 11th board meeting total $43,914.25. In the flexible spending account on July 31st, 2025, there was a balance of $30,135.71 in cash and investments. In the health reimbursement account on July 31st, 2025, there was a balance of $7,838.91 in cash and investments. Debt service fund on July 31st, 2025, there was a balance of $674.92 in cash and investments. A detailed report on fund activity is included in the financial statements.
Thank you, sir. Item C, payment of invoices. I would trust that you had a chance to go through that. If you have any questions, you directed them to Mr. Cody. Item D, resignations and employment. Mr. Fetchelcotter.
Happy to report no resignations for this month. We have 3 staff members looking to join our team. Bill Boudreau, head custodian, Northwestern High School. Carrie Kowalik, guidance counselor, NES, IRES, and Northwestern Middle School. And then Jeremy Norden Burgess, bus driver, would be the 3 for approval this week. This month, excuse me.
Yes, thank you, sir. Any questions? If not, I will entertain a motion for the consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
One second. 2 leads. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Very good. Sorry.
Good student taking notes.
Yeah. Item 5. Presentation from the Northwestern Tigers Education Foundation. If you fine ladies would please stand up, present yourself in front of the board. Well, the fan's kind of noisy.
Oh, yeah. We like to get your voices in TV land as well.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much for allowing us a moment of your time. Our presence here was actually requested by Mr. Morin before he left. It was extremely important to him that there was an open line of communication between the Education Foundation and the board here so that you're all aware of what's happening out in the community through us. For those of you who don't know me, although I think most of you do, I'm Becky Landwehr, the Vice President of the Education Foundation. I'm joined by Lori Ronke, our Foundation President. Throughout the last year, we've had the opportunity to grow and shape our grant application process, streamlining our system from application to needs fill. Our current process allows teachers to go onto our website, There's an application tab. They go in there and they fill out a fairly simple application, letting us know what the need is in their classroom, how it's going to impact the education experience of the students within our district, and how much money they need, along with any supporting documentation. We have added a step to that. Anything related to curriculum support, anything like that, we fill the need for decodable readers, things like that. We double check those with our curriculum leader to make sure that that aligns with the process and what's happening in the district and that it is the best choice. So that step has been added to iron out some wrinkles that we ran into. So our board meets, we receive those applications, we review those once a month. We meet the second Wednesday of every month at 8 a.m. at the Amnicon Town Hall. We review all of those applications. We go through, and thankfully there have only been a couple that we've been unable to fill. And our goal is to have those applications come through and be able to push them right back out and say approved. But some of those are really big. $30,000 for seated risers for our high school choir, things like that. We aren't at that level yet, but we sure hope to be. Following our 2024 Unity in Action Gala, through partnerships with numerous area businesses, organizations, and proud Tiger community members, we've been able to invest $9,861.86 back into our classrooms, with another $4,145 approved by our foundation board, totaling $14,006.86, half of which have gone to support mental health and guidance initiatives within our district. So we thought it was important that you know that.
Can you give some examples of how that's being, just in general terms?
Of Grantsville,
Well, that you would categorize it in mental health.
yeah, actually, ours is here. One of them was a Youth Frontiers Kindness Retreat. And another one is a Youth Frontiers Courage Retreat. Both of those totaling over $7,000. And those are, you want to better explain what that is?
So the Youth Frontiers Kindness Retreat was actually held in the spring with all of our fourth graders, so that NES and IRES all came and took part in a full day retreat. And then the Courage Retreat is upcoming this fall with our sixth graders. So they're a great, looking at the Kindness Retreat with fourth grade as a great lead into building leaders in fifth grade, and then the Courage Retreat with sixth grade is a great way to introduce students into that transition to middle school. And both of those were really good. They test that at the elementary school, and then Erica Cochran has been working with them on the Courage Retreat.
So, with that being said, we are here today not only to update you on the status of the Education Foundation and all that we've been working on, but we'd like to invite you to our school board and administration to attend the second annual Unity in Action Gala. The presence of the board members and administration who shared their time with us last year were so greatly appreciated by our community. I really can't stress enough how much it means. Sorry. I can't stress enough how much it means to our families and the community to have this aspect of unity coming together in our district. We've often been tagged as split or separated because of our locations and the number of our buildings. And education is the foundation for healthy communities. And I'm sorry, I come at this as a foster parent, and it's vitally important that we provide quality education experiences for kids so that graduation and beyond are healthy in our community. It's really, really important. So as much as that $50 ticket to the dinner might seem silly, it's a ripple effect that's so much bigger. So I put flyers at your spots. Please consider joining us on Saturday, October 11th from 6 to 9 at the Lake Nebagamon Auditorium for dinner, drinks, and fun as we raise funds to fill gaps and enhance all that you're already doing to help build and maintain a district our community can be proud of. Community is much more than belonging to something. It's about doing something together that makes belonging matter. Again, thank you for your time. Please take a moment to check out our website and spread the word. Share it with anybody you can and anyone who will listen. It's vital that this information gets out and everyone knows everyone is welcome and everyone can make a difference. Thank you.
May I ask a question?
There's always one.
There is.
I have a couple.
I can't stop him.
What, what is the website?
Yes, I'm sorry. Thank you. nwtigersef.org.
And then if a person were to navigate to that website,
Yes.
can you purchase tickets on that website?
You can. If you go to our news and events tab, you'll find all of the links necessary with all of the information pertaining to the night, how to get tickets, and how to sponsor. If you know any businesses or individuals who'd like to invest in our district at a higher level, please pass that information on to them.
Thank you.
Can I ask a couple more? I'm sorry. Amazing, first of all. So again, thank you. I really, really appreciate it. This is one of the more important things tonight in my mind. So thank you for taking the time. You mentioned around 14 grand or something like that. Can you approximately how many applications were you able to fill?
I can tell you
Is
that.
it? I don't need an exact number. I'm just. Are we in? Okay, so it's in the teens probably or 20s or something.
Yeah, 15, about 17,
Yeah. Okay.
and we've had to deny 3.
And do you feel like you're in a good position starting off this year, or do you feel like, oh, we're going to be in more of a hurt?
We're hopeful. We're hopeful. The news is spreading, which is good. We've had some people reach out to us, which is always a positive sign. But again, anytime that we can get board members or administration within our district willing to share that information, it's really impactful. It makes a difference beyond what we could even explain to you. Knowing that this initiative is backed by those in leadership within our district is really big.
Thank you both very much. I can say that it does impact our students across all of our buildings in a positive way. Our administrative team is here too, so.
I can say I've had 2 approved, so it's not directly back to our students. So that
It's a huge support to us. And our students, most important.
All right. Any other questions or are we good to go there? All right. The next one, item 6, presentation from our friends at VROC.
We got Kevin, Becca, and Lee with us today, and we're going to present here. Jen's working on tech, but they're going to give us kind of where we sit with our building audit. It's been an ongoing process, and this is the update for the month of August. So I'll turn it over to them.
You think that'll be okay? Close enough? We'll try and talk loud as well. So again, thanks for having us again. My name is Kevin Bills with ISG. And so high level where we've been, Becca will walk through that a little bit, but really we did the initial assessment, gave our thoughts on priorities. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Went through, got staff feedback on any areas that in the building that don't function properly as far as space layout, things like that. We went over that last time. And so now here tonight, we're kind of pulling all that together. Pretty simplified presentation, right? But there's a lot of information we've already went through to kind of get to this spot. So I'll pause there. Becca, if you want to walk through our agenda a little bit more detail.
Thanks. So if you remember, I'm Becca from Byron.
Oh, sorry about that. Phonics, you know.
So I'm an education strategist with the construction company. So I work with districts like you all to get ideas on paper and eventually to referendum if that's what your district decides. Okay, so here's what we're doing today. So we're reviewing the long-range facilities process, which we've been doing every month that we've been here. Review of different options that we as a core team started to craft together, some choices for you to consider. Cody will probably talk about financial scenarios, or we'll talk about the topic of financial scenarios, and then we'll talk about next steps. only person that introduce himself, you go ahead.
So I'm Lee Spindler with Myron Construction. As I mentioned the last time I was here, I handled the pre-construction side of things. So basically here all the way to the point of getting things signed, lined up and ready to put the shovel in the ground, so to say. Now, that's kind of cliche here because a little bit different where we're talking about capital projects and the ones.
All right, you go next one. Okay, so we've seen this graphic before. We're just going along the journey to the topic of referendum. It doesn't mean you're going to referendum. This is just the journey that we're on. The red box is where we're at right now. Options development is where you guys need to decide if there's a correct option to bring to referendum at April or November or some date. So we have to start forming a plan. So that's where we're at right now. Next one. Same graphic that we've seen before. Now we're at the board work session and talk about concepts. In September, we'll come back again and talk about surveys and how to draft that to get the best data out of your community of whether they have an appetite for the projects that your schools have been identified. And then it keeps going to survey, more board workshops, and then lots of things, happens in here if you guys end up adopting some resolution language to go to referendum. I'll get to that if it happens.
All right. So what we've done since our last time together, right? So we went through a lot of information the last 2 meetings. What we did since then is we tried to put it into a few different what we call options, right? So we're going to go through 3 different scenarios here tonight. Option 1 is what we're calling critical capital maintenance. Okay, so capital maintenance needs that are critical to the district. Option 2 is critical plus emerging. So think of priority 1 and priority 2 from the assessment that we did. So we're calling critical, priority 1, and emerging, priority 2, capital maintenance. That's what we're calling option 2. And then option 3 is critical and emerging plus some of those educational adequacy, so space reconfiguration, so a couple of secure entrance modifications, things like that we talked about last time. What does it look like for the cost of that as well? So 3 scenarios. This doesn't mean you have to go with any of these, right? It could be a mixture of any of them. It could be something, option 4, right? So we're just giving you something that based on what we've heard, some different scenarios. Cody, I would like just touch a little bit on, you spent a little bit of time going through and reprioritizing a little bit of, what's critical to us, what's more emerging to us. So if you want to just touch on that process a little bit.
So our process was to take as you guys remember, it's, the information that Myron provided us as part of the building audit was 381 items deep. And what I did is took that information back to our administrative team and to our building head custodians and kind of walked through it with them to identify, like it says up there, the critical areas are, what we believe are must-haves, projects that we've talked about in the past, roofs, parking lots, HVAC upgrades, stuff that we know is reaching the end of its useful service life. And I would classify them as absolutes. These are projects that are on our doorstep within the next year or 2 are going to need to be addressed. From there, going into option 2, which is I would say must-haves plus we really will not need to consider these items within the next 3 to 6 years. So best case scenario, really trying to take care of the buildings and the bricks that we have in an appropriate manner because nothing lasts forever. And then option 3 would be exactly what kind of Kevin talked about is the combination of those 2 things plus some reworking of our buildings based on the input of our teachers have said this is working, this isn't working, to help not look to add bricks, but maybe adjust the bricks a little bit to help the learning process for 2025 when, we're in buildings that were built in the 70s, 60s, 90s, and the building we sit in today, even 2008, is they build them a little bit different nowadays. So it's been a team effort. It's not one person doing this work. Never what I want it to be, but we've worked hard to try to do what the due diligence that we need to do to take care of our buildings, but also not have a massive impact on our local taxpayers.
Yeah. So we'll go through, if you want to jump to the next slide, we'll go through these one by one. So starting with option one, that critical capital maintenance. So total, what we're calling that critical capital maintenance, approximately $5.8 million. We did provide a breakdown there into a few different categories. What does architectural and structural mean? Think of the building infrastructure. So that could be accessibility, with roofing. That also could be like windows or like brick repair, masonry repairs, those sorts of, I'll call it more general construction type items. Electrical and technology, it's kind of self-explanatory. Typically, that's more on the electrical side, though, as far as things that are like critical. Mechanical and plumbing, you see that broken down as well, and then site and civil. So we broke them down into these categories, and then this is spread across our various buildings. And Cody's worked through that kind of like to come up with this, where those priorities land at kind of each individual building. But we want to provide this as a simplified summary so you can really see which categories it prioritizes into, but looking at the district as a whole. So, any questions on this one? So we got 2 more to go. And we can jump back and forth. So let's go to option 2. So, so this is critical plus emerging. So like Cody talked about, this takes care of those critical items that are really looking at the district is looking at very soon, and also just like what does that next level look like. So approximately $16.4 million of those items, architectural and structural. So you see that broken out at just under $7 million. Electrical / technology, about $700,000. More mechanical here. So you see more of that mechanical HVAC systems primarily, and then site improvements as well. So really it's the architecture items, so those building roofs, building envelope or accessibility items up increasing over critical, the mechanical, your HVAC systems, and then the site work as well. And then if you want to jump to number 3, option 3, so this does those exact same things. So critical and emerging capital maintenance plus educational adequacy items that were reviewed last time. So that total for those 3 categories would be approximately $20.5 million. You'll see architectural and structural stays basically exactly the same that we looked at on the previous slide. Electrical technology is I believe that's the same. Mechanical and plumbing changes a little bit because there's some scope duplication from renovations versus capital maintenance. So that's why you see a slight difference in the dollars there. And then site civil, that one's the same. And then the new line item that you see here is on the bottom, educational adequacy improvements. What does that include? And we have all the backup information for this as well. But on the bottom there, it talks about this. The NES secure entrance improvements, and also conversion of the computer lab at the middle school, secure entrance improvements, along with the office area as well. There's some classroom reconfigurations there. If you remember, we looked at moving art so that way we could get a proper size choir room. So there's like 3 rooms that are kind of a domino, if you remember we talked about there last time. Updating the staff workroom, and then also we do have a concept for adding some additional parking spaces right out next to the front entrance. So some things to consider there. The reality is you don't have to do any of them. You could do some of them, but it's just a scenario to see what does that look like. Any questions on this? So we can jump to the next slide. This just summarizes the 3 different options. So option 1 is a critical capital maintenance up for the roughly $5.8 million. Option 2, critical and emerging capital maintenance, which is $16.4 million. And option 3, critical and emerging capital maintenance plus educational adequacy for approximately $20.5 million. A couple of things that I'll just touch on. We talked about this, I think, in some of the Q&A last time, but the Myron team goes through budgeting each of these items individually. Okay, this is based on what do we think the scope is, what do we think historical data also tells us from similar project items. But also just remember, at the end of the day, through the process, whatever the board decides to do, final projects, these items go out to bid, right? So the maybe we get better pricing on mechanical, right? So those are, at the end of the day, it's the district's dollars. If we get savings in mechanical or whatever category, it's publicly bid, right? So we're using historical data to put these together, but then it goes through, after a referendum, design, engineering process, competitive bidding for those trade contractors. So,
So the work to be done, obviously option one is kind of a first year or two that needs to be done right away. Are they all the same timeline, or are like are these, do you understand what I'm asking?
yeah, I do. So timeline wise, Lee might kick me in the back of the knees here, but something of this range, you're looking at probably over like a couple of summers, right? So if you think of like a referendum date in, we'll just say hypothetically 26, you're starting to do stuff probably summer of 27. So it's like a 27 and 28. And then you're looking for things that you can also do during the school year as well. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
We need to expand on that a little bit. The budget numbers that you're seeing take into consideration economies of scale, right? So by being able to do various portions of this work in the same time period, there's economies of scale associated with that. Now, as we talked about with Cody, we also have to look at the finance piece and how that works as well with it. So just to expand upon the scheduling aspect, we've got to balance both, and that hasn't been really got to know yet, but there's been conversations.
I did ask the question, we get these projects done in a couple weeks. They said no.
I always
what
say
we-
construction takes too long.
Yes, there's plan A and there's plan X, and that's probably where you hit up, right? So yeah, we would fully anticipate this would be a phased-in project. We wouldn't be able to get all the work done. A lot of the requirements of when we would do it is, of course, summer months when there's nobody here, but it's core structural stuff. It's roofs, it's parking lots, it's HVAC systems, heating systems, all the important things that set up the environment for learning. And I joke, it's most of the stuff that nobody cares about until it doesn't work anymore, aka the room that we're sitting in here today. It's not, we lost our air handler unit.
Did you do this on purpose?
I did not mean to see what you said. I promise you I did not. But the stuff, even though I really want it to last forever, it does not. The reality is the economies of scale for us in a building setting is it's the same problems you have at the home. It's just the reality is the square footage is a heck of a lot bigger. But it is important to take care of the buildings that we have. We're not looking obviously to build anything new, but we're looking to take care of the bricks that we own, or our community owns. And this is where we sit.
So if you want to jump to the next slide. Go ahead.
Can I interrupt you before you do that?
Yeah.
Can you go back one, please?
Just,
No, you don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So when you presented last month, I think it was.
Yeah.
You didn't have option 1, 2, 3. I think this is. I think I'm expanding on what Dan here. You had like 0 to 2 years, 3
Yep.
to 6 years, 6 to 10.
Yep.
Am I correct in those years?
Correct. Yep.
So is what I saw there. Your option 1, 2, and 3. Is that? I mean, I'm not following it to a T, but is that similar to option 1? It was that 0 to 2, 3 to 6, and then beyond.
Close.
However, I think the educational adequacy, whatever fancy word you use there,
Yep.
that was kind of integrated into all 3 of those, I think, wasn't it, when it was originally presented?
Yes. Yeah, I'm glad you said that because I thought of this. I'm like, you need to say that, and I forgot it, but you reminded me. So, last time we talked about that priority 1, that's 0 to 2 years. That's what's in this. Now that the administration has
We've
Yeah.
done our work, right?
Right, this one is priority 1 and priority 2, so that next age range.
Yep.
This one is the same capital maintenance, we just added in educational adequacy. So we do not have anything in these 3 scenarios that budgets that future stuff that's, we'll say, probably 10 years out, okay?
Right.
So we don't have that here, but typically we see the stuff that falls into that, Cody, I'm going off memory here, but finishes, things like that. The districts generally start taking care of kind of on an ongoing capital maintenance kind of basis. So that's the one thing that you don't see. You're still going to have those ongoing, lower priority needs down the road. So I just don't want to portray that, all right, if you do this takes care of everything you need in the district. You're still going to have those things, but this allows you to catch up on the critical and emerging things.
Well, and these are the numbers too, and I don't want to share too much, but the numbers that were originally shared with us have been given to us and Cody, and then Cody ended up, for the lack of a better term, you sharpen your pencil and took what we felt was perhaps more needs for us, and then that's how these numbers came to be. So we've already, I guess from a public perspective, we as a district,
we are.
I
can speak to that. The list of 381 items, if we were to do all of them, it's well over the $20 million ask. And working with the Myron team and ISG, I always say this to you guys. Predicting life 7 to 10 years down the road, I would say is a best guess at best, right? So we've kind of looked at this list, really tried to pare down. These are the things that we believe, with input with the admin team, with our head custodial team, what we need here in Maple. The next slide does talk about tax impact and some of the work that I'm starting to do. We would work with Baird Financial. I've worked with them on a lot of the budgetary stuff. They are a very, very big firm, do a lot of work with school districts, even ones closest to us that have gone through some of this type of work on how to try to pay for these types of projects. And do it with very minimal tax impact. I fully understand that this position, that is something that we have to always consider as a board, is what might this end up impacting our taxes. So I'm working with them. Kevin Mullen is the representative there, who this is what he does. This is his specialty. We've had some initial conversations. I fully expect Kevin to be part of our September board meeting to kind of walk through a little bit of this information as we continue to just take steps in the planning phase. I want to be crystal clear with everybody here, everybody out in TV land. This is still strictly planning. No decisions have been made, no projects have been selected, but we need to have conversations around these things, because the reality is that I sit in the chair where I have to try to figure out how to take care of some of this stuff, and hope is not a good game plan. We can hope everything lasts forever, but it won't. So we need to have some honest conversations about how we can tackle some of the stuff that we know is coming.
The one other thing that I think the Baird team will do a really good job of is, we understand that slide before, these are all very large numbers, right? And so they're going to do a great job of taking that and looking at what does that actually mean to the community, to the taxpayers. So Kevin does a great job of breaking that down and explaining that, walking through that. So I think it's just a good process to make it relatable, because I think that's really, if we do go to the community survey piece, that's such an important part, right? A dollar amount is one thing, but what does it actually mean to me as a community member is essential, right? To get good data. So,
Any
Are
other
there-
questions there? Yeah, otherwise we can go on to next steps. That's fine. Okay, so Cory, thanks. That was a great one. Great segue into what's happening next. So what's next is, as we've been doing for months now, is keep working through the options, looking at the capital maintenance piece, make sure it aligns with the goals of the district. We think we've got some options here, but we're not really, we look for your feedback on that. The validate the tax impact, that's when Baird will come in and talk about what that actually means for each taxpayer in your district. Starting Wednesday, we kick off survey development. So we take these options, take Baird's tax impact conversation, and start crafting questions to get us the best data out of your community from the community-wide survey, which is coming up pretty quick. Survey draft will present, or probably will present at September board meeting, and then that will be deployed to your community the next month. So then after that, you'll really have the pulse of what your survey takers feel about the direction of this potential project. Any questions for us?
think that time frame that you have there different from the time frame you shared a few minutes ago.
Are you serious?
Well, if I'm correct in what I saw earlier, it was we do some stuff in September, the survey, well, it
That's
still
right.
shows survey deployed in
Deployed
October.
in October. That's on.
To share the
First
survey
slide.
draft at the
Slide
board.
5.
Yeah, no, all right. I'm,
And the reason for that is making sure our community has time to give their input. These are the community buildings. They have to give us
Yeah.
their input
We
as to,
typically have that survey open 3 weeks long, and it takes just as long to analyze the data. It's kind of a long process, but it's how we work.
time to get the survey out, time to get the results back, and then time to quantify it, and then come back to our board and
So it's-
know enough to know we
Yeah.
gotta listen to our community and what they will or won't support.
Yeah, but
Well, at some point, maybe in the survey, will there be like a more of a list of like what the actual capital projects are, like a
Yep.
breakdown?
That'll be very clarified, and that's kind of the next steps into the September meeting here. That's
I think
still,
that
like I
would
said, the
be
work that we're,
appropriate.
yeah.
Yeah.
we've gotta, we'll be very clear with our community that these are the projects that need to be addressed. These are the things by building that are important to us. We're still, like I said, in the planning phase of things and really trying to solidify that list.
Yeah, okay.
We have broad numbers here. Next will come detailed information. That September meeting will be a busy one.
That I'm trying to anticipate what conversations could come up at the budget meeting in September.
Correct. Yep, we'll be talking about that too. That meeting in of itself, the context of that meeting is to present this
Yeah,
school year's budget. And we got to get a little bit careful on getting into conversations around what's on the agenda and what's not. So
yeah, right.
the scope of that meeting is still pretty narrowed as to what we do with it, but we anticipate having plenty of conversations and questions as they pop up, and giving people places to go to try to get that information, whether it be phone calls, board members' conversations, website information, all those pieces will
The
come.
survey would go out after the budget meeting.
Yes.
Because it's in October.
Yeah. So September 22nd, we'll talk about it in a second. I think it's the 22nd is when the budget meeting is. But that impact is for this current fiscal year.
Yeah.
None of this is part of this current fiscal year.
The one thing I think if I could just have you think about and not come to the next meeting with like thoughts on it, but things you hear the next meeting with a financial piece as well. Are those of those three options, like critical plus emerging, and then critical plus emerging plus adequacy, are there any of those that just shouldn't even be an option that we even consider in this survey? So we'll keep that question. I think hearing the tax impact side of it needs to go along with that to form an opinion on that. So I want you to kind of noodle on that, but hear the financing side as well, and then I think start thinking through, geez, maybe this one just doesn't even really get done what we think is important, or only buys us whatever time frame, or this just feels like too much in this one. So think about that a little bit, but the next meeting will be really informative to kind of paint more of that holistic picture. So, yeah. Other questions? Do we have
Thank you for joining us again.
I think that's it.
That's it.
Good. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks.
Really appreciate it, all the work that you've done.
I do have one request though. So it sounds like we're going to be talking about the survey at our September meeting. Is it possible, this is maybe to you, is it possible to have that survey in advance?
So yeah, the board will be part of that development.
Yeah.
So needs to be part of that development. We're having our first initial meeting here Wednesday this week to kind of start talking about what that may or may not look like. We will work with a company called School Perceptions. They are one of the best in the state, do a lot of this type of work. And this is step one in that process.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time. All right, item 7, approval items. A, the Board of Education priorities.
I got that one.
You gonna read those?
I can read them. Yep.
I think they should be read.
So, as you all know, we met in the board retreat in July to identify board priorities for the 25-26 school year. And there are 4 priorities total, with some operationalized things to make those priorities real. So, as with any school, increase student achievement and continue the academic growth of our students is a priority of this board. That is something that as a school district we always need to be doing. Second priority, provide mental health supports for our students and our staff. We heard our Tiger Education Foundation talk about some of the supports that they provide. Talking with the people in our buildings, we still have these needs. We need to have that empathetic and understanding approach with our staff and students, from a staff level, from an administrative level. Along these lines, to continue to build a sustainable budget, communication with municipalities, community members, staff, and students regarding that budget, and look at funding options for long-range capital projects, which is the gist of what we just talked about, and some of the work that'll continue into the September, October, November meetings. Last bullet point, attract and retain high-quality instructors and support staff. Teacher compensation, looking at continuing to have a compensation model that is competitive in the labor market with our surrounding school districts and surrounding area. And then staffs, support staff, looking at really trying to put some equal step compensation as part of that, and updating that in the 25-26 school year. So those are the 4 board priorities that we agreed to, and we need a vote to make it official.
So yes, I need a motion and a second. Everybody's up for
I
that?
make a motion to approve the priorities as stated.
Second.
One, it's a close one.
Who wants it? All right, Steve, that's on you, buddy. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passes. Item B, milk bids. Mr. Fetchel-Cotter.
Yeah, this is the time of the year where we try to figure out milk, because we consume a lot of cartons of milk, as every school district does. So every year we put this out to bid. We had 2 bidders that came back to us. That bid tabulation sheet is in your board enhancement. Performance Foods out of Rogers, Minnesota was one, and Upper Lakes Foods out of Duluth, Minnesota was the other company that bid. Our recommendation is to go with Upper Lakes Foods. They have the lowest bid. They were our provider last year. Did a good job. I talked to Jackie Wickland, doesn't have any concerns. So questions you may have, otherwise this will be a roll call vote because of dollar amounts involved, but I don't want anybody coming after me saying we don't have milk.
I'm trying to remember, this price structure is pretty consistent with last year, isn't it?
Yeah, there's not a lot of change.
Yeah.
In terms of that.
And they had an escalator last year and they did not exercise it.
They did not.
Where's the whole milk option?
That one is fun. I wish Jackie was here. She can speak to how much we do. I know it's minimal.
It is.
And I don't even know what the request is for it. So unfortunately, I've got a punt on that one because the whole milk conversation, I'm not an expert to answer. I will say chocolate milk seems to be the most important, the popular option, of course.
Sure it is.
Wish they'd bring back strawberry milk. Yeah. You guys ever get
Sure,
that?
that's good for you.
It was awesome. All right. If there's any more discussion, no. If not, I'm going to need a motion and a second for that one, please.
I make a motion that we get our milk, accept the milk bid from Upper Lakes Foods.
We'll second. And we'll do a roll call. Mr. Probst.
Yes.
Mrs. Burnett.
Yes.
Mr. Cowley.
Yes.
Mr. Glonick.
Yes.
Mr. Hirsch.
Yep.
Ms. Johnson.
Yes.
And I vote yes. That motion passes. Thank you all very much. Item C, the 25-6 handbooks, the student, teachers, special education, co and extracurricular, employee, and transportation handbooks.
This is another one. It's an annual thing that we do this time of year. These have been available to you to peruse. There's definitely a lot of pages with all the different buildings and departments that we have, but it really just speaks to the work that we do as a school district and that whole rounded approach when you really look how many people come together to make this thing go every day. We have our admin team here and the various departments are represented. So hopefully you had time to ask any questions that you wanted to ask them, but they are here if you have any other ones. But otherwise, we'd look for a motion to approve the handbooks that you have within the board shared drive.
That being said,
I'll make a motion to approve the building or the student teacher special education co-curricular employee transportation handbooks.
Second.
Any other discussion or?
I have one question. So like when we, like in a moment, we're gonna do all these new board policy updates and stuff. What happens if something like should be in a handbook that's in those policies that you understand what I'm saying? Understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's, I guess for lack of a better term, it's tough to kind of marry these two together because we have our board policies and our district policies and we have a handbook. So they kind of go hand in hand a little bit, but we don't want our handbooks to be hundreds of policies long or how many ever we have. So the reality is the handbooks, and I'll lean on our administrative team, really speak to the stuff that's important to know in the day-to-day operations of our buildings. Is that fair to say, admin team? And the policy work that the board does is not necessarily as frequent, stuff that does need to pop up. I know we work hard to make sure board policy lines up with obviously our handbooks, only makes sense to do that. But the handbooks get really, really long if we list all the fun policies that we get to worry about from a district level.
I did not ask this earlier, but the email that Miss Wendy sent out earlier today, I would expect that that's probably making it into the handbook.
Yep. That adjustment that was made is sent to you. That will be added to the handbook.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stotty. We've worked on that.
I have these handbooks at the elementary level. And we go through policy every year, like I said, and I try to put user-friendly language at the elementary level. So I try to reference it to say, you can find out the direct policy that I hope they don't go over. But they don't have a policy, so I just try to make it clear that way and say, our policy is that if we're going to bring cupcakes, that can be store-bought, that can be from the kitchen at home. If you'd like, you can see the policy and just reference it. So we just try to make it.
Sure.
And there's a lot of policies.
Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passes. Item D, the 25-6 Building Emergency Management Plans.
So this is just another annual process. These are all exactly what it says, the emergency management plans that we have across our buildings for all of the emergency situations that may pop up. It's the fire drill stuff, the tornado drill, the intruder in the building work that we do throughout our year to make sure that we are as prepared as we can be for a situation that may happen that we hope never does. Not a lot of procedural changes from last year with it. They've been pretty consistent for the last 5+ years, I believe. Again, we have our team here. Any questions? They know their emergency management plans very, very well.
I'll plead the fifth one.
The only thing I would mention is, like, as a former teacher, it seems like when we practice drills, a lot of times it wasn't until later in the year. And it always seemed like that might be something that should be done earlier in the year. I mean, we did fire drills, but like as far as like lockdown procedures and stuff like that, it seemed like it was like March or something, and it was like maybe this should have been done in October or something. So
That was gonna be my question.
We do too. We do on
I think we're usually beginning of October.
Can you explain how do you go through these? I mean, what does that look like?
On behalf of the whole people, so at the elementary level, September is really classroom environment training gets for everybody, so we're trying to keep running in September, except for Friday Bill, because that's actually happy. In October, I send home information to families through Skylar, the whole part is going to come up. There's some parents who have received it before. So there's an email that comes home, and it'll give the actual link to the video that was created pertaining to our safety trainings, the training staff, and also information about the visual experience, so the parents can see it if they want to watch it. And then we feed that with our students in the classroom, and then we run a classroom kind of scenario where teachers are talking to students, and then we evaluate our evaluation process in the middle school. So we walk over to the middle school so kids know where to go. We're greeted by staff at the middle school, usually this is great by the flag program, and they walk through the building so the kids get to see it. And they turn back. And we do that twice a week.
It's pretty much the same time and prep teachers and staff. We've got information for them to go over to team meetings, and then we let them know what day we're going to do that and time and how that's going to work out. There's more detail to that, but I like to keep that somewhat confidential and not off there, because I think it's really important for not everyone members to know what we do.
Yes.
To protect our kids and our staff as well. I'm willing, more than willing to sit down and have those conversations.
With the high school kids, we have older, obviously, we have a assembly, the auditorium, all the green, we have a PowerPoint, we have the procedures. And last year in October, we actually did exactly what we wrote for the Colorado. We parked them all down there. This year, I'm hoping to take the whole high school to the middle school for a day. It's fine, we walked down to that location and had we had 2 grades in one building, 2 grades in the other building, and that'll be our unification point. We drove that last year. We're comfortable with 307 down Highway 2, good cooperation with the sheriff's department.
It is a huge undertaking, and kudos to the high school staff, the Douglas County Sheriff's Department, because yes, it does take some coordination to do that. Obviously, the elementary and middle school do take coordination quite a bit as well, but we're not walking down a U.S. highway, which does help.
And there are other elementary schools in Green River.
Different evacuation site is exact same. So the students get the same information some of the other those. So try to prepare families for it, obviously, and also teachers. All of our teachers are for sometimes you do talk about it. Kindergarten, obviously, I look at the youngest learners of kindergarten and all the students. That's like the temperate version. People want it to be applicable, and it's scary. So we try to, so that families around the
One other option that we do in middle school and in elementary school is we do let families know ahead of time. We also invite families if they come in with concern, worried about it, what it would look like. They're more than welcome to start that process and just have them contact us so we know who will be there, so they can be part of that. We have their trust and confidence in the process as well, and their feedback. So, and if there's any family that feels they need to opt out of that, we certainly welcome that and fix that.
If I can, I'd like to give a shout out to Douglas County Sheriff's Department.
Yes.
They've actually come in and trained. I don't know if any parents were there, but we did after school events where parents were able to come in. And Douglas County was represented, so they were able to join us in the conversation with parents. I want to say that was somewhere around 2019 and 2022. We did that as after school events. So they've been very supportive of it on site. Even when we ran regular drills, they've just been present to support. And our transportation department's been a huge member of that too. It helped us out with talking to kids about where we're going to take buses, but also with blocking entrances so we have safe routes. It's been all hands on deck effort.
Coordinate events at NES in the high school for middle school.
I think it's perfect. Well, it'd be like mentorship.
At the high school, when you do that PowerPoint, is that right? Like when is that PowerPoint presented? Is that right away in the fall?
Last year we did it late September.
So you do it.
October as we were getting ready for evacuation.
Any other discussion? There was a lot out there, actually.
And sometimes those dates move too, just to be clear, like sometimes we plan it, we may decide we're gonna do it earlier, we may decide right away in September, we may do it later, it just kind of depends on two different factors, elements that we can bring together. Weather, that's another one.
Well, it's one thing for us to approve a 19-page plan or something for a school, but it's encouraging to hear the flow down and how they take that and actually take it serious. So thank you for that. That's great.
I would entertain a motion and a second for this one.
I make a motion to approve the building emergency management plans.
Second.
All right. Sure. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passes. Item E, policies. Do I have to read all of these policies?
The full policy, please.
It's a full policy.
So this is helping you, Mr. Landwehr. We listed all of these policies out and it's on the agenda, just so you don't have to read every one.
Awesome.
But what's happening with the policies that are listed are technical changes, so the content of the policy is not changing. It's simple grammatical changes and things of that nature. And then obviously the other list of policies is change of superintendent with me being in the interim role. We have to update that particular piece of information, pull Carl's name out, put my name in, but it does require board approval. So if somebody would like to make a motion and list all the 37 policies off, they certainly can, but an easy way to do it would be to make a motion to approve the policies listed on the agenda. And it
Does that need to be the motion? Does that need to be a motion for the technical changes and a second motion for the change of the superintendent?
Do them all at once, they're all technical changes, so.
Okay.
So the recommendation, of course, is to approve these, but the take-home point is the content of the policies are changing.
Yeah, I do want to make one comment. In the July meeting, we tabled 3 policies because we were questioning the language about the word relative. Remember that?
Yeah.
And so that'll come up in the September meeting.
Yep.
Or sometime later on. It's not in this package, is what I'm trying to say.
That's part of the transition from Carl's position to
Yeah.
me coming in. We will bring that back in September.
Yeah. Or it doesn't even need to be September, but what I'm trying to say, it's not in here.
Correct. Those are still tabled. We will bring those back.
I make a motion to approve the 37 policies listed in the agenda.
Did you actually count them? Only
I don't know, I
because
just went off of what Cody
They're
said.
numbered.
there is 37.
I did, I give you the accurate number, just so you know.
You did. Well, I just want to make sure that we, if there was 38, we'd get
37.
I will second that motion.
all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passes. Item 8, administrative report. Item A, communications received. Looks like there were none.
None this month.
All right. Moving on to item B, the budget hearing / annual meeting.
So this is another annual meeting that we do once every year. It's the last Monday in September. So this year's meeting is September 22nd, 2025 at 7 p.m. in this very room, our district office conference room. We will have the postings. Jen will work on that to make sure there's certain deadlines that we hit. But roughly in 6 weeks, we will have our annual budget meeting.
And I believe, if I am, Ms. Jenny, you can probably correct me, but I believe Mr. Dan and myself have to be here, right?
Correct.
Is it just, does the clerk have to be here as well, or is it just Dan and I?
I'd have to look at that, but I know it's you two for sure. I don't remember seeing anything.
So whomever is required to be here, if you'd be so kind as to make sure we know.
Yes.
And anybody else who wants to show up for a riveting couple of hours, please do. as well as I would encourage the community to show up, because this is where they get the opportunity to speak and vote and have the ability to give your 2 bits based on the school budget, ask questions on various different things. It's I joke about it, but it's an important thing, and if people have an opportunity to come out and at least experience it, that's it would be nice to have to add chairs if that was possible. Item C, the WASB Region 1 meeting on October 14th, 2025. Do we know more
That's
about
listed
that?
there.
Just let me know if you're going so I can get you registered.
I didn't pay attention. Where is that at? This
It's in Ashland at,
Lake Shawamigan?
Yes.
Hotel
Correct.
Shawamigan?
It's a good regional meeting from a board standpoint. Gives a lot of the latest and greatest updates.
Is that the one where they usually do a seminar or a workshop prior to the actual meeting, if I remember right?
Yep. We would, depending on how many can go or make it, we get together, usually ride down in a school van, make the trip down there. It's not too long, but it's an evening. And
Can we ever
I've been
change
to
it?
one. Usually, has good information.
Can we change it to not have it be on I think it's a Tuesday.
I can put that in the comment
Busy
box.
sport
The sport day.
day.
Yep.
You know what? You signed up for this and the role that it takes. So, you know what?
I'll miss Bank Out Night.
Yeah, that's right.
If it makes you feel better, this is on my anniversary, so.
Well, you don't have to plan a date then.
Yeah.
Bring her along.
So
Bring her
what's your
along.
decision?
Yep. 2 birds with 1 stone.
You got dinner taken care of.
Yeah.
Item D, the maintenance report. I would trust. It was pretty basic.
Yep.
Mr. Petrocotter sent that out, but if anybody's got any questions.
It is, Carl mentioned this at the last meeting. I'm going to echo our praises for our custodial crew here. We are on the home stretch. Most of all of our buildings are almost ready to be open. We are right where we need to be, if not a little bit ahead of schedule at this point in the game. So we try to shine them up and make them look as brand new as possible each year. So that does not happen without the hard work of a number of different people. So other than that, that's what we have maintenance-wise. I probably will have an update about the AC next month. Because I don't know yet.
Item E, the WASB correspondence and legislative report.
Yes. So there is a copy of it as well. There's a little graph that I included because it was fascinating. Kind of helps to support the current financial state of the district. WASB tried to provide an update for members with information on how new state supports increases in revenue authority are affecting districts across the state. One of the metrics that they track most closely based on member approved resolutions is how increases, if any, to school district revenue authority compares with the rate of inflation. We have updated a chart, and that I did include as well. Essentially, since 2009, there has not been any significant increase in funding that outpaced inflation. And so this kind of helps to summarize the state for school funding. A new study was released by the Wisconsin Policy Forum last week that found that Wisconsin has fallen further in the national ranking when it comes to per pupil education spending. We now rank 26th in the country. We were 25th in 2020. Then the Department of Education issued a Dear Colleague letter to state education officials encouraging states to pursue waivers from federal K-12 education laws. The letter's central message is that the status quo is not working. The conclusion the administration drew from student performance in the 2024 National Assessment of Education Progress. The letter urges states to think creatively about how to use federal funds to improve academic achievement, strengthen literacy and numeracy, and expand parental decision-making, ultimately aiming to return education to the states. Applicants must submit a plan identifying the affected federal programs, explaining how the waiver will advance student academic achievement, and detailing how its effectiveness will be monitored and evaluated. That's all I have.
I would like to, if I could, say, because I did read this, and I think this is important for the community to know. There's 2 sentences here. It says, since the 2009-2011 budget, no state budget has increased revenue authority to even match the rate of inflation, which you said. This has resulted in 16 consecutive years of school budget slowly dwindling in their purchasing power. So when you look at the state of school districts across the, well, it's not just this state, but across the states, you see that every district has some financial struggles. You can't point it all to that, but you can certainly point a few fingers that direction. So that was all. Thank you very much. The CISA 12 report.
We did not meet since the last meeting time we were together. Our next meeting is Tuesday, August 19th, next Tuesday. We are working on Dr. Madison's annual review, and we'll have more next month when we've actually met.
Very good. Item G, donations. Looks like we did not have any.
None this month. Kind of typical for August. Haven't quite started firing up yet.
Item H, student, staff, and community recognition.
I want to make sure that we give a shout out to our administrative assistants and administrative team. They're back in the buildings. They're all hard at work getting things ready to go for our students and staff to be officially welcomed back on the 25th for our staff. And open house is the 27th and 28th. 28th and 29th. 28th and 29th, excuse me. So the phones are starting to ring a little bit more. The calendar flips to August. There's people that move in. They're hard at work trying to get stuff set up there. So just a recognition to them.
And I would like to add to that, if I could. It's been an interesting month for the school district of Maple. With our previous superintendent stepping down and moving on, and us as a board and a community and a district having to come up with something. I think we all feel, I would hope, comfortable with the short-term solution that we came up with, and not just with Mr. Fletcher-Potter, willing to step into a dual role, but I can speak personally, the amount of communication I received from both community and staff members, all willing to say, I understand to a degree the situation that we're in, and we are all willing to step up and do as little or as much as anybody's willing to ask of any of them in particular. And it was very reassuring for me. And I don't ever use the phrase, but tiger proud. It was very nice to see everybody willing to understand the situation and go, let's get through this, let's work through it together. And I think there have been times where that wouldn't have necessarily been the case, and I think it was nice to see that from my perspective. And I think some of you others have had some reach out as well. So I would like to give not just a shout out to anyone in particular, but as a group. It's very nice and encouraging. That's what I got there. Item 9, comments from the audience. I'm going to read this. Now that we have concluded the business of the board, we will end the live stream.